Hi everyone, this is Nirmalia Kundu. I'm currently working as a software engineer at MathWorks on System Composer Toolbox. I'll be today presenting Cloud Model Explorer as one of the projects that I have worked on this semester. So the main motivation for this project is basically model-based systems engineering and software architecture modeling is typically a collaborative activity. Models need to be accessed and updated collaboratively and uniformly. Organizations are moving to have private clouds or shared databases for their architecture artifacts. System Composer is currently a desktop toolbox on MATLAB. No functionality for web access of System Composer model. No scope to share System Composer model. No scope for editing the same model by multiple users. The main objectives of the project is, as of today, System Composer is purely a desktop toolbox dependent on MATLAB. The main goal of the project would be to make System Composer models available on the cloud with AWS and work on System Composer models independent of MATLAB. Export a System Composer model to cloud, creating an export function to export a model from desktop to the cloud. Import a System Composer model from cloud, basically creating an import function to import any model from cloud with appropriate user authorization. RESTful APIs for creating multiple RESTful APIs for easier access of the model with queries. Web app for creating a simple web app to see the models and its artifacts on the web independent of the MATLAB. The benefits. The benefits mainly include the exporting System Composer model and its artifacts to cloud to work on System Composer models independent of the MATLAB. Import System Composer model and its artifacts from cloud to work on System Composer models independent of MATLAB. System Composer models and its artifacts can be accessed by any authorized user on cloud. System Composer models can be shared between users inside and outside organization. Editing the same System Composer model by multiple users. RESTful APIs to query any model. Web app to access model and its contents independent of the MATLAB. Technologies. So I have used EC2 for cloud computing and processing of the System Composer models for RESTful APIs. S3, saving of the System Composer model artifacts into the S3. Document DB, saving of the System Composer models at NoSQL. MATLAB, creating the functions to communicate between MATLAB and cloud. The AWS Document DB S3 EC2. Python for creating the functions to communicate with the document DB and into the MATLAB as well as like the PHP. The PHP for creating the RESTful APIs for querying the System Composer models. HTML, JavaScript, and CSS for creating web app to access the System Composer models independent of the MATLAB. The REST APIs. The RESTful APIs includes the get models, basically to get all the models in the cloud, the get model to get a model with a particular name and type, and to set the model is basically saving the model to the cloud onto the document DB using the set model API. So let's dive into the demo. So before getting into the demo, let me show you the project architecture. So starting with, I have the aim files where I have the import export function, basically importing models to the cloud from the cloud and exporting model to the cloud. Download artifacts and like upload artifacts to S3 and the AWS credentials. So the models module have all the models in this module. Now the RESTful APIs, the ZC API get, this is the get API and the set API of the RESTful APIs. The app module have the web app to access the web access System Composer model or the Cloud Model Explorer. The DB module holds the Python code to access the document AWS document DB to import and export models into the NoSQL server, the document DB. So now to begin with, so this is how our export model looks. Basically, I pass the name of the model and the URL, and it exports the model to the cloud, and basically also uploads the artifacts to S3. Now I have the import models from cloud. So basically how I import is I pass the model name and the URL is basically the EC2 EC2 server URL where my all my web things are hosted and the model is imported. So similarly, download artifacts from the S3. So now if I see how the Python course works, is basically the connection manager connects to the document DB and like helps me to access the data. So don't worry, these are the fake passwords. So I have the DB access where I get the models from the DB, get models and the set models via the APIs and using the document DB. So now let's see how export model works. So if I go to the import model, so let me open a model first. So this is the keyless entry architecture model, a system composer model which have multiple components, ports, and connectors. Now, if I want to export this model to the cloud, I'll be using export model to cloud. So let me remove the semicolon. So I am passing the model name and the EC2 server address where I want to export it. So now the model is exported successfully. Now, if I want to see this model on the web access dashboard, I'll go to the Cloud Model Explorer and let me select keyless entry architecture and I want to see the components. So if I query the keyless entry architecture and want to see the components, it will give me the JSON results. So now I can use this JSON result to recreate the model on the MATLAB and work on it. Similarly for the ports. So now you see the API is changing. So yeah, so this is the JSON result for the ports. I can also go to other model. Let me go to FOB receiver and see the components which I've exported earlier. So I can get these components and recreate it on the MATLAB and work on it. So now how to import a model. So I'm showing you how to. So basically what I do, I call the import model from cloud. I pass the model name and the EC2 server. So that's how the model is imported. The model is getting imported. So now this is the model that I have, which has all the artifacts. Now this model, I can work on this model on the web. So now let's see how the EC2 server and the document DB works. So this is the EC2 server, and if I go to the instance settings and edit user data, so I have all these as a to start the server. I have all this user data, and also I have also updated the PHP servers, the PHP myadmin, and other associated libraries to work on the document DB. So now this is the EC2 instance. Now this is the document DB where I created multiple clusters, and like right now I have one replica, and I work on the document DB as an NoSQL server to upload the document over here. So now I have to create the security group so that it allows the port 27017. So I had to create the security group so that the port 27017 is allowed on the EC, because the MongoDB works on the document BD or DB, or document DB or MongoDB works on the port 2707. So if I go to the security ID over here, so I have to allow for the inbound rules. No. If I go to the MongoDB, so yes. So I have to allow the 27017 port. So now going back to EC2, so what I did is basically as soon as the instance is started, so I copied all my cloud contents from my local to the EC2 server, so that I have the web access dashboard and web access system composer model and everything ready on the EC2, and I can access it via the MATLAB. So yeah, that's it for the demo. So as for the future improvements, I have version controlling and complex queries. Thank you.